Hi and welcome to this video log with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, a couple of weeks ago you'd have seen me test the DJI Osmo Mobile 2, which is a gimbal for a smartphone that I found not quite up to what I expect DJI to do. But in direct competition to that, we have this Zhiyun Smooth 3, and this actually looks like it's got a slightly more complex app that does more complex things. That might be what I want. It also looks as though the gimbal itself might be slightly sturdier than the DJI one. Well, I'm going to test that over the next week and show you exactly what I get as results. Okay, so here's my natural setup. I have the Zhiyun Smooth 3 on a Manfrotto tripod, which keeps it really nice and stable. Good thing about this is if you have an angle, you can actually angle off your Zhiyun so that you can actually make a good shot even if it's not a level surface. Now, I'm working it with the BlackBerry Priv. The BlackBerry Priv has a good camera, but it's not obviously the best, but it does work pretty well for me, and it's also the phone I've got, so that's what I have to do. I did also purchase a remote control for the Zhiyun 3. It works all the functions except, very annoyingly, the shoot button. Whenever you've got it on, if you use the shoot button, it doesn't actually start it, so you've got to start it, then you can use it. To set up the Zhiyun 3, you can see my camera there is just flopping over. There's a little screw. Undo the screw, just push adjust slowly but surely till you get balance. Once you're balanced, tighten the screw. Oh, I've obviously moved that slightly as I did it, so undo it again, just slip it across. That's nearly balanced. Do it up, and that's pretty well balanced. It doesn't have to be perfectly balanced, but if it's balanced like that, you will get a very good smooth shot. To start the Smooth 3, you just press and hold the power button for about 3 seconds and it springs into life. Now, it is working now. I could work it with my ordinary camera. You can see that really controlled, really smooth. But it's better if you do that through the app. And there's a Zhiyun Play app, which I'm just going to click. And you'll see that that now comes up with the app. The app will say connect to device, so I'm just going to click connect to device. That's going to find the device in Bluetooth and turn it on, and that is effectively completely connected to the camera. Now, the initial mode it's in, you will see, is very, very stable. It's very smooth, and I can tilt up and I can tilt down, and that's all I can do in that particular mode. I cannot pan in that mode, and that's okay. That's a very useful mode because it's very, very stable. So once you're centered, if you press once, you're in pan and tilt mode, and if you press twice, you're actually in tilt or complete follow mode. Now, I've never used this particular mode because the camera tries to smoothly go every direction. So I suppose if you're walking and you're trying to follow a particular person, if you've got it on follow mode, that might be a useful thing to do, but I tend not to do that. I tend to use the first or second modes, and that seems to be enough for me. The maximum I want to do is stabilize and pan. That's all I really need. Now, here's something I found particularly useful: stabilizing footage of people diving, and then showing it back to them to make sure they understand what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Now, you can see here that the footage is incredibly stable. It's also very good quality footage, which is something that's hugely important if you're going to re-show this at any kind of resolution. And the stabilization is good even if you're down low. Now, clearly I'm holding this well below my knee, but you're still getting usable and exceptionally good footage, and really stabilized footage, which is exactly what you want from a stabilizer. What's more, there's no great drop-off in quality when you use the zoom function that's on the side of the Zhiyun Smooth. You can see as this zooms in, it's retaining that good quality. The video also has to be good enough quality to give good analysis through the water. And the water's a thick medium. Now we're just going to have a look at this girl from above with her breaststroke legs as she comes forward. And you can see that effectively what she's doing is pulling her knees out. You can see that position there. And if you can do this with the video, then you've got some good analysis potential. So she's firstly pulling her knees out so it's incredibly wide and creating a barrier to the water, lots of drag there. And then she's actually kicking outwards as opposed to backwards, which is not the direction she wants to go, and it's actually losing power. Now if you compare that to this swimmer, we'll see that this swimmer's kicking backwards against the water, not sideways, and therefore driving much faster. You can see those knees come up quite close together, feet turn out, and it's a backwards kick. Now if we can do that sort of analysis, then this gimbal is very good for analysing swimmers, as you can see here at full speed. Now that's the basic way to use the camera, but Zhiyun suggests that you should be able to use lenses with this gimbal, or stabilizer should I say. And I have lenses, I use lenses. I've got three here. One is a telephoto lens, another one is an Oki 2x zoom lens, and another one is a 7x zoom lens, sort of super telephoto lens. And all of these can be used, they say, with the camera and the Zhiyun 3. That is a tremendous advantage, because obviously looking through glass, and good glass at that, and Oki especially is a good glass lens, will be better than optical zooming. Now you can optical zoom as we've shown, but if you get glass you should be able to actually get a better shot overall. Now I'll only show you with one lens, but what you tend to have to do is undo the screw, push the leveling all over to the other side. Now you can see that's totally not level now. Now I'm going to take my 2x zoom, my Oki 2x zoom, which is a great piece of kit, and position it over the lens. Now you'll notice there's no way that that is actually balanced, and let me show you something. I'm going to lift it up, just take it into the mode, and you can see I'm still actually not able to load that lens, and I'm definitely overloading that motor. It's still trying, it's not giving up, but I am overloading that motor. But I do have a trick for you. Now I often use a microphone to add good sound to things like my iPad, etc., and for this. And I found that if you put the microphone in the slot and just level it, suddenly you've got a well-balanced camera or camera phone with both a microphone and a lens on it. Now that is super handy, and that's exactly how I did things at a recent meeting at the Olympic pool that we went to over Easter weekend. I'll show you some of the results. Now the London Aquatics Centre was the Olympic pool, and the Olympic pool therefore is 50 metres long and with 10 lanes, so it's 25 metres wide. I'm a long way from lane 1, which we're looking at now. The swimmer just about to do butterfly and raise her head. But we're getting incredibly smooth footage, and because I'm using the 2x zoom and the zoom on the camera, I'm actually getting a really good shot. We can see the second kick always coming in, and it's useful all the way through. As I say, I've got the optical zoom and the 2x zoom, and we see that second kick always being useful, but she's now breathing too often towards the end of her race. Here, on the other hand, we're looking at lane 6, so it's in the middle of the pool. I'm not using any kind of zoom, so I've not got a lens on there, and all we're going to do is we're going to use the optical zoom to zoom in as the swimmer gets down the pool. You can see the swim's different, the view's different. It's not as close to the swimmer as necessarily we'd like to be. And you can see that slight staccato increase in zoom as it gets through. We're still getting a good picture towards the end, and it's incredibly smooth. But it isn't as good as when we were using that 2x zoom. And here, once again, we're looking at lane 0, which is 25 metres away. And we do have the 2x opticals, 2x lens on there. Now you can see 25 meters away we're getting really good footage. We're also using the optical zoom. So we can use both in conjunction, and when we do that we get really good footage all the way up a 50-meter pool length. And we've got smooth footage. Without the Steadicam we just wouldn't be able to follow this footage at all. So all the way into the end of the lane, it's clear and we can actually make a good analysis of what we're doing. And there we go, right into the turn. That was good. So the ability to use lenses, the power of the motors, is an improvement on the DJI Osmo Mobile 2. So if I was comparing the two, I would definitely buy this one. Now there is a Zhiyun Smooth 4 out. I haven't had a chance to test that. It's slightly different to this and it's gone back to plastic, so I don't know how it compares. It's also a much cheaper price than this. So Zhiyun, if you want me to test it, I'll be happy to do so and do a vlog. But this one, to me, is a huge improvement on the DJI Osmo Mobile 2. And for coaching, I really need to be able to rely on the thing I've got to be able to deliver something that's usable post-production, so that when I'm looking at it with a swimmer, they can understand exactly what's going on and it's good enough. And this certainly does the job, and I'll be keeping this, where the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 didn't. Okay, so the Zhiyun app, the Zhiyun Play is quite useful, but there's a few deficiencies in it that I think you should know about. One, you can't allocate a specific file to save your photos in. Now that's hugely important to me. I'm taking a lot of video, and anyone who really buys this is looking to take quite a bit of video. You've got a return on your investment here. And I'm taking a lot of video in swimming senses, so I'm taking a lot of swimming video. And I want to store that on my card, not on my phone. My phone's got 32 gigabytes. I've got a 128 gigabyte card in there that I'd far prefer to save things on, and you can't do that. Not only that, I found the slow motion did not work on this camera, although it does say that it's actually saving it as 60 frames a second. That 60 frames a second isn't quite enough to give it slow motion. So that's another thing that hopefully it will be improved with new generations of this particular device. Okay, that's it for this week. Just out of interest, I do have a Rode microphone that I've used this with, and that was absolutely superb. I can't find it, so I bought this Kamika one. Literally, I bought it just the other day. It's slightly cheaper than the Rode one. I thought I'd test out this one. If I need to, I'll go back to Rode. Hopefully I'll find my Rode one. I don't know where I've lost it. But I find this a really useful setup. Hopefully you will too. Alright, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you found that useful. See you soon.